I know a lot of you guys didn't like the newest Thief game that just came out, I think in February. And it's like a, I don't know exactly what it is. Is it a remake? Is it a reimagining? The line that separates those two is so muddled and it's so opinion-based that I don't know. We'll just call it the new Thief. So I know a lot of you guys didn't like it. I went into it expecting nothing at all. I actually more expected not to like it. I actually kind of enjoyed myself. I don't know, I like murdering people and robbing them blind. That's kind of something I find quite enjoyable. And I know that Thief is supposed to be a stealth game. I suck at stealth. Even when I try really hard to be stealthy, I just suck at it. So I kind of enjoy games that understand that not everybody's great at stealth and gives us the means to go on murdering sprees when we want to. There are some missions in Thief that did require me to be, remain undetected, I think was the term. Yeah, undetected, unseen, whatever. Nobody ever knew I was there. I did fail those a few times. But I still enjoyed my way through the game. So what I did like about Thief was actually the controls. A lot of people were comparing it to Assassin's Creed, and it does have a very Assassin's Creed feel where I can like run and like wall jump up things and scale things, but I actually think the controls were a little more fluid and a little more intuitive than Assassin's Creed. In Assassin's Creed, I get really frustrated because I'm trying to run, and since run and grab onto things or run and jump over things is the same button as so was in Thief, but in Assassin's Creed I'm running around, I'm doing things, and my character's just like grabbing shit and he's dropping and he's jumping off of things, and I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to run. Stop like attaching yourself to stuff. There's like this magnetic pull in Assassin's Creed that my character's always like, if I'm using the run button, he attaches himself to things and it drives me crazy. It only happened a few times in Thief where I'd actually be running up to a wall and instead he would jump over the wall and I'd die. Only a few times. As a whole, I just felt the controls were a little more intuitive, and they were just easier for me to manage than Assassin's Creed. Also in Thief, as I said before, I love murdering people and I love robbing them. One of my favorite things in video games, period, is looting. I love to loot shit. I will loot all freaking day. You cannot even put enemies on the screen. If you just give me a game where you just go around and loot shit, I will. And that's what I like about Thief. But one of the downsides to that is the shit you find and the stuff you do loot really isn't worth that much. And I mean, I was finding a lot of the collectibles. I do have a good majority of the collectibles, so it's not like I was only picking up random crap. I was going through, finding the really hard to find stuff, which actually nothing was super hard to find, and getting some of the high-priced collectibles in the game. And even then, they're not that high-priced. They've got all these really cool upgrades and really cool, like, focus where you can go into, like, kind of like detective mode. Almost every game's got, like, this detective mode thing, and you can go into it and you can see stuff and interact with things. They have that, and they have different items you can buy, like a lucky coin that makes you have more health. You know, the same basic upgrades every game has. They have all of that, plus different arrows you can buy, and different like smoke bombs and health and all that stuff. That stuff was way overpriced compared to how much money you actually found throughout the game. Way overpriced, which frustrates me. I mean, it's good for some players because you never actually get a chance to become overpowered. But for me, I like being overpowered because I like to just dominate. I love to run up to characters and just completely annihilate them without a problem. I love it. So I don't mind being overpowered sometimes. I felt that one of the biggest problems in Thief, though, was the open world aspect of it. I adore open world, and I just feel like the guys who made this Thief game, they were looking at the game as a big picture. Big picture, the game's not bad, but when there's all these small details about a video game that makes the game successful or not, makes the game a fun experience or not, that's where they failed. They didn't look at the details. So it's an open world game where I'd never played any of the past Thieves, but as I know enough about the series, it was not open world like this one is. It's open world. Cool, right? You get side missions, story missions, you can go around and explore and find collectibles and loot shit and whatever you want to do. That seems great in theory. The execution was not good. The fact that here's my starting point and a side mission is all the way up here, This side mission then makes me go all the way down here to then get it and then have to go all the way back up there to turn it in. It's a pain in the ass because there should have been fast travel, even if just simple fast travel, like fast travel to the start of the area of where where that mission is, would have been fantastic. But the fact that this is a stealth game and they are making you backtrack all the time, even when you're not stealth, if you just run through it and going from here to here is gonna take you 10 minutes, think of how long it takes you when you're having to stealth your way through. It takes forever. And the fact that they make you go back and forth within the same areas over and over again, it becomes not as fun because you've already looted the crap out of everything, and all of the guards respawn. That's frustrating. And the fact that you have to keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth constantly in the same area makes the area become extremely boring very quickly. And that happened in Thief a lot. Simple fast travel to the start of that area's location to where the mission is would have been very helpful. Also, there were a few different NPCs that would give you quests or side missions. And the fact that there was no way to pull up your map and see if there was a new side mission available at that quest giver was extremely frustrating and very poor game design. I mean, from the very beginning of video game history, where different characters could give us a quest, they would have an exclamation point over their head. That is basic video game quest giving 101. And the fact that this game had nothing like that, and there was only one way to tell if that NPC had new missions for me, and that was going all the way to that character just to find out that, nah, he had nothing for you. Half an hour of getting from one place to get to that character because you have to stealth your way through to find out he has nothing for you is extremely frustrating. Also, the map wasn't very well laid out. It's like, hey, here's your mission, but the fact that the map says it's a clear cross from where you are to get to there sucks because that way, that alleyway is not clear. There's a huge barricade there that you can't get around. If I've already been there and I see that there's a barricade, it should mark it on my map so I know I need to find a different route, a way around it. Because it's very frustrating to circle a quest, circling it like a shark trying to find your entrance point because the map isn't marking off the places that are not accessible. Very frustrating. It's the simple things like that in Thief that make Thief a not fun experience. If they had actually looked at the game as small pieces that were going to make the big picture a better experience, this game would have been a lot more polished. But there are a lot of, I would say, very, very noob mistakes. Mistakes that video game developers should not still be making in this day and age of video games. But if you go into Thief expecting really nothing, and just are kind of bored, you'll like it, and that's why I liked it. I had nothing else to play. I really just wanted to play something, just anything. So I tried Thief, and even though it's got some huge game ending problems, it's gonna be why most gamers won't make it to the end of the game because they get bored with it, they get tired with it, and they find out that they're just running the same path over and over again and really not accomplishing much because the rewards aren't that great. This is why gamers are not gonna finish the game, and a lot of you guys said that you only lasted about 2 hours, and I can see why. I am, again, enjoying my time just killing everyone. I will never get tired of killing people in video games and looting them. It's always fun, but when I actually stop doing that and I get into the missions and even the side quests, that's where I find it very tedious and very boring because I am going through the same places over and over and again. You do go to some new locations like an asylum and stuff like that, but when you're done there, you're still stuck in the same freaking city you've been to a million times. Also, there's just a few things that make no freaking sense to me, which is why in the world can everybody in this city walk around at night except for me? Why are the guards get upset when they see me? I haven't done anything bad that they know of. There's no bulletin out on my head. As soon as they see me, I'm in freaking trouble. That makes no sense. There's tons of townspeople walking around. That's ridiculous. Maybe if a guard sees me do something bad, okay, that makes sense. It's kind of like in Assassin's Creed where the guards get mad because you're on a roof. Maybe I'm just fixing a leak up here. Have you thought about that? You're on a roof, Mr. Guard guy. I can be on a roof too. They get mad at you for climbing up the side of a building. It's ridiculous. And yeah, the fact that the guards get mad and they hunt me down. The guards are ready to kill me on sight because I'm walking around at night. Makes no sense. And I didn't even get into the story. The story is a nightmare. Oh my god, the story is the most convoluted, ridiculous, just uninteresting story ever. I paid attention at the beginning, and there's this chick named Erin who's like a hot thief, but she's reckless, but she's not super hot because she kind of looks like a guy, but she's still got the body of a chick, so she's hot, but she's reckless, and I think she dies or something, spoiler, something like that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the story because it's just boring. And in the story missions, they make you like kind of flash to this dream area. Most games do this when there's like some story and you're like flashbacking or you're talking to a ghost, where you're walking around in this never-ending room that no matter how far you run to the right, it just repeats itself. No matter how far you run to the left, it just repeats itself. It's all dark. You can only see immediately in front of you, or a light source in the distance. You run to that light source. You see another light source, you run to that. You know what I'm talking about. So a foggy room that never changes. They do that a lot in Thief, and it's really frustrating. I don't mind when games do it and they're creative with it, like I can actually find things in that room. But Thief does it just because there's a conversation with Erin, the female character, and she's talking to my character that they want me to hear and listen to. But they didn't know how to make that conversation, they didn't know how to make that happen. So they're like, just stick them in a room full of clouds and make them run around the same room that never changes until the conversation's over. That's boring, and you will lose my attention very quickly. Don't do that. Find a creative way to have that conversation. And the story is just it's way too dramatic and way too over the top for the game that Thief is. Talking about Thief, when I'm actually sitting here talking about it, sounds like a terrible game. The only reason I am enjoying it again is for the murdering and the robbing. If you want to play a good stealth game that's got great character, great story, great controls, if you just want to really sink into a game that's really, really stealth heavy, or you can go around blasting people's heads up if you want, play Dishonored. Don't play Thief, play Dishonored. Dishonored is amazing. Thief feels like a game that did come out 6 years ago. And if you're going to remake or reimagine a game, you've got to realize that just because you're making it open world, or just because you're adding, maybe you're adding some abilities, or you're adding better graphics, there's some aspects about it that you've got to upgrade for what gamers now expect in their games. And that is stuff like an easier way to get around so that I'm not repeating myself and I'm not backtracking every 5 minutes. And it is just a better overall experience. And I don't think Thief really delivers that. But hey, if you're not really expecting anything and you're really bored and you just want to play something, play Thief. It just came out in February, and I think even Amazon might already have it for half off. So, shit. It's, I'd say 30 bucks is a fair price for it. 20, hell yeah. 30, might be pushing it, but maybe you'll like it a little bit better. It is keeping my attention. For the reasons I stated, and the controls really aren't that bad either. I quite enjoy killing people in that game. It's just everything else, the small details I keep talking about, the map and the way you don't fast travel, and the way that you can't tell what characters have new missions for you and what don't. Those are deal breakers for me. Those are very, very beginner mistakes, and these guys should have been able to do better. That's my overall thoughts on Thief. Let me know what you guys thought of the game down in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.